Turn on your mic.
Turn on your mic.
Why you look so different?
Blow on your whistle.
I cut my hair.
Short hair. You look great.
Thanks.
Great seeing you.
Good to
Blow on
see
your
you.
whistle.
You know,
Yes, I know Jorden. Hi, Jorden.
Cool.
Good to see you again.
too.
There's no reason for you to be in. Where do you want me?
Who's this? Here.
Right here.
You sit down wherever
that's
you'd
from
like.
before.
Huh? What?
Huh? What? Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm trying to
Andy,
get.
come
Jesus,
on.
Andy, come
Come
on.
on.
Come on.
Come on now. Let's open up with a half hour of putting down Garland again.
I get more
Yeah.
comments
love
about
that.
that. About you ripping.
Love it.
And
Love
now
it.
now he has a shitty sitcom.
And he thinks it's the greatest thing
Oh
in the
my
world.
God,
He's
it's
so-
horrible. And I feel so bad for Wendy. She's so funny. Wendy McClendon Covey, the blonde who plays his wife. She used to be on Reno 911.
Mm-hmm.
She's that crowd. That Robert Ben Garrett, Thomas Lennon
Oh,
crowd.
is she
And
from
then,
the original state?
No, she wasn't on. Wasn't in the state, but she's right after they did the state. Then they went to, I guess Reno 911. Pretty close.
And then
Oh, yeah.
that's the grandpa is the dad from. I know it was Just Shoot Me, but before that,
Okay.
George
Like-
Siegel?
yeah. What would we know him from?
The Talking Baby movie.
Yes, he was the dad, and look who's talking. He was the biological father.
Is this the one where Patton's doing the voiceover?
Ooh.
No, that was Bruce
No.
Willis. Bruce Willis did the baby.
No,
No.
but in the Goldbergs though. In the Goldbergs, isn't
That's
that
possible. Is that possible?
I don't.
Yeah.
You know what? You know.
It's like a Wonder Years ripoff in a way.
Thank you, Andy. I'm glad you.
Oh, it's only based in the 80s. Yeah, that sounds right.
I said shitty sitcom. I'm just going by the fact that Jeff Garland's in it.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the sitcom. I haven't actually watched a second of it. So I dismissed it as a shitty
I was going
sitcom.
to tell you guys, let's not say anything about Jeff Garland this time before we started, but I didn't get a chance
You
to
know
say
what,
that.
though? You know what? Here's the great thing about it. Andy, let me talk to
Editing?
you. For a second. I am pretty much, other than shooting it up to, you having a beer, Andy? What are you? I'm recording all of this. I'm editing it on my
Thing
thing. I edit on my
With your
thing,
thing?
and then I get it into a,
situation
and then it goes up to the
out to a
up to the bird. But
a cloud?
the only thing I can't do is get it up to the bird.
yeah.
But once we do that,
Did you get a haircut?
yes, I got them all here. I got them
I'm
all.
all cut, yeah.
Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me again.
Did you get a haircut?
I got them all cut.
Oh, good job.
See
Good
now,
job.
that's my favorite birthday card. Isn't that your favorite birthday card?
You told me I could go in the snacks closet. That was okay, right?
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
Give him free reign to do whatever he wants here.
Wait a minute.
I still sneak stuff from there because technically I don't have anything to do with this anymore.
Oh my god.
Just the podcast, so I feel bad taking the food.
Hey, I'm recreating the Jeff Garland eating doing the thing.
Yeah.
No, this is pre-show. This is the off-the-air part. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
We're just sitting around. See, I take it home and I edit it.
Oh, you brought.
I have
earbuds
these
to
headphones on
listen.
to make sure that your microphone's on.
Well, if it's pre-show, are you recording now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing I was going to say was recently online, someone on, of all the annoying things he does, one of the annoying things that he follows two people. And
yeah.
but he has all these followers. And it's not like, like someone like Zach Galifianakis, he's not doing his Twitter account. It's it's just an announcement.
Yeah.
But to me, it's the worst when you just follow two people because it's like he's still interacting with everybody. So someone asked him, "Hey, how come you've never been on Marc Maron's show?" And he puts that in quotes, and then he says after it, Jed Garland goes, "I wonder." Like so I started going nuts on that. So I did my own tweet like, "Hey Andy, how come you've never had an audience with the Pope?" I wonder. He just thinks that Marc Maron should have to come over to his house and.
Oh,
beg him.
sure, yeah. How did that go, by the way? You were on the show again, right? Mark's show?
Oh,
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that one
the
yet.
sitcom is.
The
I mean,
sitcom,
I love his show.
Was Bobcat the director when you were there?
Mm-hmm. And I love him. And
Yeah, he's a good guy.
yeah, it was like the dream come true.
Yeah, I saw a picture of you guys on his Instagram, on Bobcat's Instagram.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you were recording. Yeah.
So.
Yep, that's it.
Well,
Okay.
I'm gonna. It was sad about Robin talking about Bobcat, and they were.
Yeah, and the thing is, like,
That was horrible.
right now, I mean, I like I always made fun of Robin Williams, so I mean, it was a staple of my act to like make fun of him.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, all the time. But I did feel terrible about it. But he's Bobcat's doing a documentary about Barry Crimmins.
Yeah, I saw that.
So I had just been with Bobcat that day. I left, and an hour later, so I texted him and see if he's okay. And yeah, right. I mean, it was just weird to be with Bobcat like an hour before all this happened.
Yeah.
Now, who's Barry Crimmins? Why do I know that name? Is that a character?
He's a comedian.
Is he a comedian?
Mm-hmm.
He's a comedian.
Is this a stand-up?
But
I mean, not just a stand-up.
No, but he's a political comedian.
Oh, okay.
And amazing at it. So he's not world famous, but he's very respected. I'm ready, guys. I'm so ready. I'm not ready.
Why don't you introduce us to your now? What is Jorden going to be doing as far as
this podcast?
No, I mean, is he your handler today? Is he driving you? What is he doing?
He drove us last. He was
Step up to the microphone, Jorden. What are you doing here?
Hey, everybody.
He's a comedian. Jordan's a comedian.
Wait a minute. Hold it. This can't be.
He is a comedian.
He was with us at the club last weekend.
Oh, that's right. I knew I saw you from somewhere.
And I was on the show once. Not this show, but
He has a very distinctive laugh, like someone else I know.
Who?
You.
I think my laugh's awful. That's one of the main reasons I don't listen to our. That's
why
I don't listen to our podcast.
Are they too tight?
No, I got. Oh no.
You're lucky you're even talking on the microphone. Now you're bitching about it. The headphones are too tight.
I've been here for 30 seconds. I feel like I've ruined everything, and I apologize.
Andy, has he ruined anything?
He's here to handle Andy.
He's doing my style now. He's apologizing before the joke. No,
there's no joke.
He is.
There's no joke.
No, there's no joke coming.
There's no joke.
He's I very enthusiastic about this kid. This kid.
Aww.
I was enthusiastic about him before you were.
You didn't even recognize him. He was just on a show with you.
Who was here with you earlier on the other show?
On the Bob and Tom show?
Yeah. Who was the other?
This morning?
Yeah.
Ben
Roy.
Ben Roy. Oh, okay.
Had not seen him before. He was very funny though.
Okay.
I liked him a lot.
A lot of tattoos.
Agreed.
Oh yeah.
Are you going to eat all your crackers, Andy? Is that it? We're going to go have lunch.
All right, let's go. Let's do this.
I know. I don't know why it's not
hey,
playing.
You know what else I have? I have pretzels in my pocket.
You know what? We'll add the music later.
Are
I can do
serious?
that now.
No, don't make it complicated.
I can't. It won't. I can't. I got to get up and go over there now.
I have my, but
that's okay. We're fine.
The reason
why
I'm eating the crackers is I'm low blood sugar guy.
Hypo. Me too. Yeah.
I know what it is.
What did you not do?
It's not turned up.
The volume?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll get you every time.
You need to walk more now with your stent, so that's
we
good.
can talk about that. This is the first show after my.
Yeah.
They crawled around and signed me for a little bit. Hi, I'm Chick McGee, and we're off the air. Ah!
Oh, so close.
It's too loud. You're too old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they say. Give me a kiss. I don't know if it's recording. Hang on.
At all?
No, we're recording.
Didn't press the button. This is awful.
Will you stop it?
I like how you have to go to a different area to do something. That's my favorite part.
Well, usually we used to have a producer that would sit over there.
Yeah,
but he quit.
In general?
Nah, he's right over there on the other side of that window.
Yeah,
he's waving.
He was in the room last time.
I didn't know he could hear us. I guess everybody back here listens to the live version.
Everybody listens to the live version?
The new Tom Doran. Well, I mean, he's still Tom Doran. He's a new
No,
position.
he's new.
He's new here. He's new.
Oh, we're live now?
We've been live
in the
whole
building.
time. Or in the whole building.
In the building.
No, but it doesn't go out to the people now?
No,
not right
it's
now.
not streaming. You have to download it.
I'm streaming 24/7.
I'm getting a thumbs up from Tom.
See, they're all... Hi, I'm Chick McGee, and we're off the air.
Let's do this.
There we go. Now
Let's fall in the morning in the back of the beamer. Now, mama, what's up? I know that you're a steamer, but you can't be frontin' when it comes to this.
cuss and
Daddy
everything.
back tricks, give me a kiss. I got a cast.
Hi, I'm Chick McGee, and this is the Off the Air podcast. I'm your host. That's Jess. She's the other host.
Up in the mother house, so
Hey.
getting crumb, bling, bling. I got some love
This is Bob Schneider, BobSchneiderMusic.com, or BobSchneider.com. So, thanks for downloading the podcast. So, I'm doing this.
Yay!
Yeah!
See him!
You know, I love how Jess says, we used to have a producer, no name. And Andy says, oh yeah, I saw that guy, no name.
What's the matter with us?
I'm not sure.
Rude. Our producer, Jason.
Jason!
No, he doesn't have a name.
Quit. He just quit. Hang on.
No.
Yeah. Is this your guest shot? Is this
No,
a guest
I
slot?
just want to say hi to Andy. I think
Yeah.
it's
He
Well,
loves, he loves.
we could do this Mark Levin style. If you haven't heard of him, don't listen to him. But he says, producer.
Is that what he says?
He's like an evil Don Adams. He's an evil man. He goes, producer, play, go. He goes, cut 8, go.
You know, one of Don Adams' comedy records was one of the first comedy things I ever heard.
I never heard it. Missed it by this much.
It was that much.
I'm scraping something off the microphone.
Ew.
Oh, who
as
needs
you
it?
can tell, Andy Kindler is here again, joining us. Thank you, Andy, for stopping
That's
by.
thank you for having me back on. You're the only podcast who's ever booked me back again.
No.
2 times?
Why? How?
I'm self-deprecating. I'm really a
Okay.
huge star who's very much in demand, but I play it down is what
That's
I do.
right. You play it way down. And Andy's...
What? I don't know what that means.
Andy's driver.
He's not, but he is a comedian
He's
in
an
his own
up-and-coming
right.
comedian.
That's right.
Local.
I've seen him.
Yeah.
Bloomington, Indianapolis. Where are you from?
I started out in Indy, and I live in Bloomington now.
Where are you from? Are you from Indy?
I was born in South Bend,
South Bend.
and then I lived in Indy since I was 10.
Since you were 10.
He's a
And,
chronic
Where'd you
liar.
grad-
None
Are you
of
a
this
Catholic
is true.
school kid?
No.
No?
My dad's a Methodist minister.
Oh, well.
So I went to public school.
So far.
Holy shit,
Where'd you
really?
graduate from? One of the Lawrences?
Broad Ripple.
Broad Ripple.
His father is a very progressive Methodist minister.
How
Oh, really?
progressive is he, Andy?
No, because he's he's so progressive. When he someone feed me some Christian material. When he goes to take the Icarus,
Gets his Bible out.
yeah,
Icarus.
he uses Necco wafers. Is that good?
That's progressive.
I know it's Catholic too. Now that's progressive.
That's
There you
good.
go.
Oh,
Well, you were Methodist, one marriage, right?
I was Methodist. Methodist is this Jorden Matherlicht. I don't think we.
Oh, I'm
said
sorry.
His name. It's Jorden. Hi, Jorden.
That's
Hi,
a good.
hi, Jay.
That's a good last name.
Well, thank you.
I like that.
this is an unpaid appearance. I'm
God.
getting paid. So.
Oh, wait.
I was Methodist when I was 8 or 9 or 10, along in there, and my mother would make me go to church on Sunday, and she would make me wear a suit,
fedora.
a tie. I'll get to it.
Oh, that's the best
A
part.
suit, a tie, and this goofy hat.
Oh,
A middle-aged man would have worn with a little feather in it. It was a fedora. It's
But you know
exactly
what?
what it was.
Your mom was very ahead of her time because that's how everybody dresses their kid like a 60-year-old man now. Like your babies are all dressed like they're
Right now?
like 60 or 70. Yeah.
I'm a middle-aged man.
I feel like
did
I
not have a
started that
fedora. I don't have a fedora, do I?
No, but that's no older. Oh, how
Andy,
old are
we're
you?
about
You're
the
not
same
60.
age. We're about the same age, right?
I will be 58 in October, ladies and gentlemen.
He looks. I told him this morning he looked 40, 45.
I've had a lot of work done. Not on my act. Not on my act. I'm
Jordan, are
sorry.
you his middle?
No, I'm just hanging out.
Okay.
And I just love what he does.
Aww.
You know?
He's my body man. Is that a thing?
No,
I don't think so, but-
I don't like how that sounds.
Yeah,
like
is that
in
weird?
the box, cut guy.
No,
cut man.
yeah, he's a cut man.
Cut man?
He's been. Yeah,
Who's your middle guy?
No, he is.
It's Josh Cox is middling.
Oh, that's a great last name.
But we banter in the car from here to Bloomington. We're bantering. We're spritzing.
Tweeting up
are you
storms?
riffing? Are you?
Tweeting?
Yeah,
Twits?
it's riff.
Twits?
It's riff master. It's riff master Andy. When you're with me, I can go off on any subject. I can riff. Go ahead, provide me with anything, and I'll riff on it.
So my mother made me go to church in this hat. And
Yeah.
suit,
Nothing Christian.
and I was 8 or 10, and I about 5'7" and weighed about 300 pounds.
And
So
that's not true.
I was a big kid.
But she would drop him off. She would make him go to church by himself.
And she would make me bring the bulletin back and show her.
What's the bulletin?
It's a church bulletin. It's
Yeah, it's like a
goings of
newsletter.
the,
I went to the Church of What's Happening Now.
no.
You know what that is, right?
Oh, that's
Flip
that's
Wilson.
From, yeah.
That's my favorite name of a church.
Geraldine.
Geraldine.
But he did the Reverend. In
Yeah,
the Church of What
from the
Happened
Church
Now.
of What's, and the whole thing was you have to give me your money.
That's right.
It was so good. I love Flip Wilson.
And I mentioned
Is he alive? No.
Flip is still alive, isn't he?
He is?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I thought.
Why isn't he out doing a thing?
Why isn't he on the podcast?
It's got to be like 82 or something.
Easy.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Just
be
look up
82 soon.
Didn't Flip have on his show one time?
Is that his given name?
My church.
Flip?
I bet that's not his given name.
Oh, he was cute. Oh, I think he is just...
Who?
Isn't his
Flip
name
Wilson?
Flip Wilson.
Alfredus or something?
Bad
or
news, guys.
Adolphus?
He
Died in 98.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I didn't think he was still around. Yeah.
What was his actual name, Flip Wilson?
I think it... Well, let's get there.
I bet his last name was Wilson.
I bet.
He was
I'm
one
a
of
genius.
the first African Americans hosting his own television show, right? He had to be.
He had to be. Absolutely.
Yeah, because right around that time...
Clero Wilson Jr.
Clero, that's
Clero.
it.
Clero?
What's her name? Diane Carroll, Julia.
I loved that show when I was a kid, Julia.
Dr. Chegley. How do you like that name pulling out of my head?
What's Dr. Checkley? That's who
Dr.
she worked
Chegley
for?
was the boss of the
see?
Julia was a nurse. That's right.
Yeah, if they really were being progressive, she would have been the doctor. That would have been a bridge too far in the 60s. Wait, Bill Cosby had a show.
Bill Cosby had a show where he's a phys ed teacher. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, in I Spy.
I Spy with I call him Bobby Culp.
Bobby Culp, who was great, and
who's also on Everybody Loves Raymond, the show that Andy was on. I don't like to recite my credits. That's
Wait
not what
a
I'm
minute.
about.
Hold it. You were in.
You may have seen me on.
Yeah.
Do you know that crowd? I refer to people as crowds.
Yeah.
The Kevin James, Ray Romano crowd.
Actually, I took a joke that I had written about Kevin James about me because I was watching TV and my friend says, "Has he had some work done?" And I said, "Not on his act." Do you know that the DVD Corporation refused to put "Here Comes the Boom" on DVD? They did not want to commit that much plastic. Do you know the Digital Download Corporation says there's not enough room in this or any other known universe to be able to allow people to download "Here Comes the Boom"?
Is that right?
Yeah, he's not. No, he's a very lucky man.
Is that a wrestling movie?
Yeah.
That is that movie looks like it looked. I didn't even see it, but I could smell the DVD case, and it was terrible. I don't understand the Kevin James. Are you guys good friends with him? Because I'll change on a dime.
No.
That's the kind of thing we should be having.
I saw his. I saw one of his stand-ups, and I thought it was very good.
Well, here's the thing about him. People say
But
who
you
like
could
him that
tell
he
he's
can
an
make
actor.
people. Yeah, they tell he can make people laugh. He's very physical and stuff like that.
Right.
But as I used to say about Will and Grace, not only is it not my cup of tea, it makes me hate tea.
That's pretty much a blanket.
Yeah, for me. Yeah.
I like it.
So anyway, I went to the Methodist Church when I was a kid in the hat and the suit, mostly to play softball. They had a softball league.
I thought that was. I think you're getting being a kid and being married mixed up. I think that.
No, I also went to Methodist church when my younger kids were born.
I know, and I thought you played
son.
softball with the grown-ups there.
I did.
Every story is fake with him.
Not-
You just choose from the.
That's exactly right. Every story that I've ever told. No, this is like through high school.
Oh, I didn't
right
know
after high
that.
school, I played softball for a while. Yeah, but
I didn't know.
I bet you were a
David
good
played
athlete.
softball.
I bet you were a good athlete.
I was okay.
I was a relief pitcher.
No, he was one of those people that could have been a really good
I was
athlete, but
serviceable.
he was not. He wasn't interested.
Andy, here's the thing. I didn't, and Jordan, you can learn from this. How old are you? 22?
20.
22?
Just 20.
Get
Just
out.
20. Just 20.
20.
No
Get
other
out.
number.
Get out.
All right.
No,
Hang on a
stay
second.
here. Stay here.
Hang on a second. You were
Oh,
born.
that makes my stomach
You were
hurt.
born in 94.
93.
Oh,
I'll turn 21 later this year.
Oh, you will?
Yes, I will.
We should have a party.
I think we should. Yeah.
When's your birthday?
October 20th.
Ooh.
We get
Oh.
to the Monday.
Yeah, it is a Monday.
Get Monday
I know
drunk.
that.
What day is it again?
It's a Monday.
Monday,
November
20th.
October.
November 20th? Do we
October
have this
20th.
October
20th.
Why are we changing his birthday?
October 20th.
As
JML.
I have socks older than you because things have not gone well for me.
That's not true.
I use that at a roast for David I don't drop names, but I'm friends with
Fogarty?
Dave Foley.
Speaking of
Foley,
Maron,
oh.
and speaking of Dave Foley, and speaking of you, Andy, Mike Myers was just interviewed by Marc Maron.
I heard him be interviewed.
That was
Very interesting to
that
hear
was
him.
very interesting because Mike does not do an interview, a long-form interview. Yes,
I have a bone to pick with you.
pick my bone, baby. What did I do?
The Alec Baldwin podcast.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the matter?
You
They
said
stopped
you,
doing
you
it.
said you liked it.
I did. No. Alec can take over the interview a little
You
bit.
fucking think? Jesus, I kept listening, and I was like, listen to the Andrew Luck one. Listen to the
Did you listen
David
to
Letterman. Listen to Letterman.
I like the Letterman only because you
Listened.
never hear David talk, and especially that
when I hear that.
relaxed
Agreed.
and.
Yeah, but I just feel like you're right. It just somehow it always.
No, but Alec, I mean, he can.
Alec. Oh, someone's on a first name basis.
Here's the thing. When I was on the phone with AB, I'm telling him, look, Big B. They call him Big B because there's how many? There are four Baldwins.
I interviewed a Baldwin once
Name
at the
him.
Republican National Convention.
Alec, did you?
Did
Yeah,
you?
I don't
Why
plug.
were you
I don't
there?
plug my appearances that I covered it for Letterman. That's not the kind of person I am. I covered 2 Republican National Conventions for Letterman, and believe me, I would if I wasn't actually doing it for TV, I probably would have had a heart attack from. Well, I can't say heart attack. He's got a stent, but I mean, when you're around Republicans, I was literally 5 yards away from the hideous.
Sarah Palin.
No, who's Pig? They call him Pig Blossoms or.
Pig Blossom.
Carl Rove.
Oh.
And he comes down the hallway. He's got these
Okay.
thugs around him. Out of our way! Out of our way!
Pure evil, that guy.
He goes, out of our way. We couldn't have been more against the wall to begin with. And he comes barreling through. And he says I'll never forget. He says to Christy Todd Whitman. You know, remember her?
Mm-hmm.
Christine Whitman,
She was a
governor. No,
governor of New Jersey
yeah,
and the EPA. He goes, hey, you're the worst governor that there ever has been. That was like his idea of a joke. She looked horrified. And let's think back to the invasion of Iraq. Okay, let's wrap that part up. How did we get into the Republican?
So would you classify
Letterman.
yourself as a liberal
Baldwins.
Democrat, as a?
I am. Here's my problem.
A Whig? What?
No, I'm very. I say I'm very liberal, very very progressive.
Sure.
And I never thought that I would have to defend that. First of all, I never thought that we lived to see the day where there'd be the first black president, and then that I'd have to defend him to my other progressive friends. I love Obama. I'm not saying he's perfect, but I love him.
You are bringing up a great point, and I'm not just doing this because I love you as a person, from what I've known of you and your comedy. I am so sick and tired, and I think you agree, of people.
Wait.
People blaming.
Say it first.
First of all, I don't get people blaming other than if you have someone incredibly awful like George Bush, the second one, or the first one. Anyway, my point is, Obama. I mean, it seemed like they were just waiting for him to make the slightest mistake, and then it was
and one
over.
thing. The Republicans.
I think he's a great, smart. He could be the smartest president we've ever had.
I agree, and it's like I expected it from the Republicans, but the thing that's enraged me, and none of this is funny, is I think the media has gotten worse. You have Andrea Mitchell. And like Andrea Mitchell, every single day she starts talking about how he didn't bomb Syria, so he's terrible. And they take Republican talking points. All of them. I like Brian Williams. My wife and I enjoy Brian Williams, and I like Richard Engel because he's actually a correspondent out there in the
Brian
war
Williams
zone.
was on Alec Baldwin's podcast, and it was the best interview I'd heard of all of them. But it made me love Brian. You'll love Brian Williams.
Oh, he's great.
You have
I mean,
to listen to this.
he's got a great sense of
You
humor.
have to listen to it.
I love him, and he's a great, newscaster. Everybody else at NBC, they should all be fired. They're all Chuck Todd, David Gregory. Meet the Press. He has like 4 right-wing panelists every week. They pick up Republican talking points. Why? I know that presidents go on vacation, but it looks bad. The optics look bad. There's no actual news. It's all like covered like a sports game. And the people have disappointed me. The progressives. Because they are just as bad in their own way. I mean, if they wanted Obama to do stuff that if he had done it, he would never have gotten reelected. He's a smart politician.
I think so.
Yeah.
They just were waiting for him, and
yes,
it's just It's no wonder, and I'm not sure which comedian. I'm sure I've heard this because it's too obvious, but. It's no wonder we can't get good help as far as the president goes. The way we wait for whatever they. Oh well, this is. I mean, to constantly be examined and scrutinized scrutinized. That's it's. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for her.
And Lindsey Graham and all these people. Come on. Come on. When I was younger, the Republicans had some, northern East Coast Republicans were more liberal. I mean, you can't even be. You have to be a complete so right wing that you I don't know, some kind of a joke about wings, but
do you think there's a bigger? See, my thing is, I thought, and the way my mind works, this will give you a little window into my mind. When the Broncos played the Seahawks in the Super Bowl this past February, Richard Sherman was very outspoken,
right?
Very confident in the way he played football. And, of course, Peyton Manning was the quarterback of the Denver Broncos. And I think a lot of people, and this might be controversial, but I think a lot of people took that opportunity to, well, Peyton Manning's going to put Richard Sherman in his place, And I think it was kind of like a closet racism. The hiding behind Peyton Manning to put Richard Sherman. And I think the same thing about Obama. When I say these people, I mean those people are just, are hiding behind, well, he's not a good president. Well, what do you really mean?
Oh, it's so much racism.
Yeah.
And look at Dennis Miller, who used to be who decided, you know what, I'm a respected comedian. Why don't I end up opening up for Bill O'Reilly in concert? I mean, this guy, I don't know what happened to him. He's the most wealthy. He lives in Santa Barbara. And as soon as Richard Sherman did, at the end of that game thing, it was like Dennis Miller was right on Twitter. I don't respect that kind of a thing.
Shooting his mouth off
like a... And they picked on the wrong guy because Richard Sherman... was
incredibly intelligent,
incredibly intelligent, and just saying, don't call me a thug. Right. I mean, that's just there's so much blatant racism, and all these comics who I've already gotten enough trouble for this, not trouble, but blowback. Just the idea that all these comics, when Anthony of Opie and Anthony. When, I think everyone knows the story. Something happened in Times Square, and he went on a 6-hour raging.
It was unbelievable. Did he not realize people were seeing this on Twitter? I'm still amazed at the things he tweeted.
Well, he talked about eugenics on his, and I never really even listened to Opie and Anthony. I really didn't care. But then everybody was like, they shouldn't fire. First of all, people mix up free speech with, you have free speech, but you don't get to keep your job all the time. But right. that became what the comedians were rallying around. Stand with that. Now, how about at least saying this guy's a racist? He won't even admit that he's a racist.
That's all. That's what his rant was about. Right?
He was attacked, or someone near him was attacked, and
he claims to have been attacked. What that happens is he was taking photos in times. Well, also he goes, these liberals with they always have to say alleged. No, you say alleged when you don't know what happened, know? Right. So he says this woman attacked. I don't know what happened, right. But some people say he was taking pictures in Times Square. Maybe he was taking a picture of this woman. He says he was at Times Square at 3 a.m. taking pictures of Times Square. I don't know what the hell happened, but he goes in this whole thing about how they're animals and when is the black community going to take a responsibility for their I mean, just all this vile disgust. And the stuff that got tweeted at me because I did the speech in Montreal was like so disgusting. But again, at the end of the day, basically they're saying the new thing. I'm not saying all comedians this way, but the new thing is, I'm not racist. I'm just stating a fact. That's the new thing. It's like black people have. It's like as if slavery never happened. As if it's just like these black people they want to fight you. Now, of course, this was all before the last few days where you saw the stuff in Ferguson and you see the way. But it's unbelievable. I mean, maybe because I'm Jewish or whatever. But if you can't relate to the fact. If you and you're not black, if you were black for one day in America and you saw how you have to walk around and constantly be the suspicion of that you've done something, and I just don't understand. I thought it was like a weird. I don't like that movement in comedy. I'm against that in-your-face racist movement.
So that was his excuse. I hadn't heard that part. That
What's
he was
that?
in Times Square and he was taking pictures at 3 a.m.
He said he was taking pictures at 3 a.m. Of Times Square. And then this woman just got in his face and started punching him
for no reason.
Well, because she, I think he claims that she didn't like that he was taking pictures of her, and then just went into this whole 6-hour.
And he insulted her, and I mean everything horrible you can think.
You can find the tweets online, and I defy
I'll skip
anybody to read those tweets and not tell me that they are racist to the core. So, anyway, I'll probably end up being punched out somewhere.
That's okay.
So now,
You got Jorden.
I will
Jordan's got my
defend
back.
you the best I can, which is not much.
That's nice. The best he can. That's nice.
Oh, well, a lot of comics have been very supportive of the things that I said, and it's like...
Well, this started... I heard it...
Not defending.
I forget what our... I'm sorry, Jorden.
Yeah.
Chick so much wants to do the, hey, look, pal, you haven't paid your dues.
No, you know how I found Jorden? I saw him do were you hosting?
Yeah, for Ryan Dalton.
He did the famous
Where?
joke about his car downtown.
Oh, I thought it was one of the times we ran into Ryan.
Oh no, that's a good story. But go ahead, do your.
That's a good story. I'm going to skip.
Go ahead, do your joke.
Do your joke.
Guys, I got some comedy bits here. Just gonna unload them real quick. Which, as any of you know, I drive a Prius, which I call the pussy wagon because I cry in it. That's the joke. It's my big hit. That is my #1 single. That is going all across the airwaves on the ones and twos, all across the nation.
On the ones and twos.
Well, here's an interesting thing. The thing about it is that there is an issue like that people are worried that you can't say anything anymore because there's so much political correctness. I get that that's happened. Like when Colbert got attacked because on his on his Twitter account, they took his thing out of context.
Right.
But that person who was cancel Colbert, that woman was wrong. And I think she was just trying to stir up stuff. And to me, it's like, no, we know where Colbert is coming from. We know it's satire. So you're completely wrong and you have no point. And also, like, comics I love, like Dave Attell. Okay, Dave Attell, for some reason, he'll go off on midgets. Now, I don't use the word midget, but he's saying, like, to a midget, a postage stamp is a painting. He's doing these things. And to me, I think it's actually social commentary about how ridiculous prejudice could be, that you would be upset at little people. But so that's the worry, is that are we going to be clamped down on for everything we say? I think that's a legitimate concern, but that doesn't justify accepting everything people say. And also the idea that you can say something hateful like Anthony Cumia, but then we're not allowed to respond and say we don't like it. Where's our free speech?
Right. It's almost implied that why aren't? Of course, you'll agree with my opinion because you're also a comedian, and how can you disagree with?
Right.
I don't understand that part. Why would they do that?
Well,
yeah. So this Montreal thing.
Yeah.
I heard, not the most recent one, but I think a year ago. Have you been? You've been doing like a state of the
since '96. I do a speech there every year.
And is it just you just?
It's criticizing, like for example, part of it. It's like a roast, like we were talking about. I don't know what I was talking about before, but Russell Peters was up there,
right.
And Russell Peters goes, "How come you won't make fun of me in your speech? How come you won't?" So I just wrote a joke to him about how they say he's huge in India, but so is overcrowding and poverty. So a lot of it is like literally like a roast. Right. I'm not, because if it was all just rage stuff, it wouldn't be. But I also like when people, like this year, it went right up on SoundCloud, so everybody could hear it.
Right.
Other years, I made a mistake of being interviewed about it, which was a mistake, because it was like, don't be interviewed, just let people listen to it. And then, but people also evaluate it as if it's my act, which, it is stuff from my act, but I'm also doing 45, 55 minutes of actual all new material on the subject of what's wrong with show business. So it's not going to be, there's going to be bumps in it. There's going to be, like I ended it this year with reading Anthony's racist tweets, and then I was like, why is this not getting a reaction? I was like, well, what do you want? I was like, how can this get a reaction? What kind of reaction do you want, Andy? They're not going to be whooping it up because I'm exposing the racism.
Right.
But maybe I shouldn't have closed with it. So, but last year was Corolla I went after.
Yes. I heard that on. I'm gonna Sirius XM is the same thing. I heard it in my car on the satellite, and they played the whole, like they had the Montreal comedy channel or whatever.
Right.
So, do you mind going over that a little bit?
No, because what happened there was, I had done.
I guess my question is, how have you become this controversial, being just a nice guy and going up and telling jokes. And
I'll tell you why. I know clearly why I've been. It's because I did decide years ago that I was going to make fun of other comics.
Right.
And for some reason that, and I've even had very good friends of mine who are comics say they don't like it, that I do this in general.
Well, but it's just anything that I just worked the Comedy Attic last week, and we're all sitting around backstage, and we're all saying things that I think that you bring up on stage. I guess is their problem you're making it public, or is that...
That's their problem.
You're making it public.
They're making it public, and I feel like it's kind of there's a hypocrisy to not putting it out in public.
Right.
And of course, everything is politics. There's politics involved with everything. So I try not to burn every single bridge. Or I try not to burn the current. I try not to bite the current hand that's feeding me. But when it goes from a roast part of it to something I'm very actually angry about, that's only usually in the speech.
Right.
So with Carolla, my whole thing was I had gone on Carolla's podcast and I hated it, and I didn't realize because I wanted to I never was a big fan of the Man Show or any of this stuff or the Love Line. I said, you know what? I got to be more open to things. And he just ignored. Basically, it was at the John Lovitz Comedy Club where the ceilings are so high that you tell a joke and 6 months later it hits the rafters, and then they make you park in. It's in the Universal City Walk, so you have to park in Curious George 9. You pay $25 to park, which Adam Carolla did not refund, and then you have to, and it's a long walk when they go make a left at the Bubba Gump. And that's where the show. And so I really had a bad taste in my mouth from that. And so then I started listening to the things that he was saying, and my manager actually pointed out that that one of the problems is that when he was on terrestrial radio, he had a producer. There's certain things you can't say.
Right.
Now he's got his podcast where he says anything he wants, and he actually has things that are just racist. He talks about Mexicans swarming over the border. He goes, there's no wonder black people can't get a cab. Maybe the cab drivers know something about black people and he's very angry because I think he's very angry at his mother because his mother, I don't know if she's still alive, but she was on food stamps. He goes on Bill O'Reilly and he goes on these right wing. So my whole point was, that's not him being a comedian. That's him just saying horrible things and using comedy.
Right.
And he also, I have other gripes with him because he's one of these guys. It's like Ricky Gervais, where they've performed 8 times as a stand-up. Now they think they're stand-ups.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know Adam Carolla. I've never known him to do any stand-up.
Well, he goes out, and I'm not saying I have nothing against people, going out and doing stand-up if you haven't. But then to think you're an expert, all of a sudden. So that got a lot of blowback from a lot, and I still get a lot of blowback from that. From Carolla, but then the Carolla to me seems like a saint now that you listen to the
really?
Camilla stuff.
It's so I admire so much that you do that. And do you have any concern for how other people feel or how the people that you talk about?
Well, that's the other thing as a corollary to the whole thing about you should be able to say anything you want as a comedian. You should never have to apologize. I disagree with that completely. I apologize on Twitter all the time because I get so many negative things that sometimes someone's not negative, and then I realize, oh, I'm sorry, and I apologize. I took it the wrong way. Or if you as a comedian, it's very hard to censor. You really don't want to get in this mode where you're censoring yourself too much because you want to experiment with things. But when I many years ago, I was a Jewish writer. Got very upset because of I had done material on the Young Comedian special about how as a Jewish person I'm scared all the time. So I go on a train, I won't go on a train. It's like yeah, it's going to Baltimore. It's going to Baltimore Stuttgart. That's where it's going. So he felt like I was trivializing the Holocaust. Now I disagree with him, but it did make me think. I don't think it's bad for comics once you've said something to say, am I doing this because it's gratuitous, or am I doing this because it's funny? And I can't think of specific things I've taken out, but I think that it's important to have that kind of a conscience as a comic.
Right.
And so that's I don't know if that's what answers the question.
No,
or?
not really.
Okay.
But it's more like are you ever concerned with how the other person's going to react?
All the time, because I don't like confrontation.
Right, but you're but on Twitter you have no problem. It seems like.
But I'll tell you, I have very, very strong. My boundaries. For example, in my mind, you know how people like on Twitter they'll go, "Oh, you're hiding behind a fake name."
Right.
Yeah. Tell me what your real name is. No, I have those same type of impulses too, but I don't want to. I'm not going to go. I'll come down to you and have you punch me out. You know, it's like I draw the line at anything that has anything physical, and so I'm not going to challenge someone to a fight. I'm not going to do any of those type of things. But but I am. Yes, I get very strongly emotional about something, and I know that there's blowback from it. But I don't want physical confrontations.
Right.
So and comics are very thin-skinned.
Yeah.
And, but like the other side of it is like Dane Cook, is following me and I'm following him on Twitter. I saw him on Montreal. So after years of making fun of him, he came up and he approached it. It's like some of these things are like they're not. Even with Jay Leno, I can't stand Jay Leno really personally. Can't stand him, but it's not. But in a way, it's not personal. You know. But these other things like Corolla and Cumia, this is personal because I'm saying to them, I think you're racist, but still, I don't want to. I hope to never see Adam Carolla in any environment because I don't want to. I don't want to see him. I don't want to confront him, and I don't want. I think that's probably wise. But the other thing that's uncomfortable, and I'm not going to mention names because I've already mentioned enough names. But some comics who I've been friends with for many, many years were really reacted strongly to me going after Louis a couple of years ago. And things like that. So it's just I'm stirring up. And the thing with Louis was hard because I actually think can be very very hilarious. But I also felt there was this Emperor Wears No Clothes type of that I was so resentful that people, all these magazines, and in a lot of ways it's not his fault, say he's the greatest stand-up comedian ever. He is not the greatest stand-up. I can think of so many people that I'd rather see than Louis C.K. That's not mean to say he's not funny, but this celebration, this making him into an icon, it's just a media. They think it'll sell things, or maybe I think the media loves money. They love when people are successful, and they just want to glom onto it sometimes. Did I answer your question at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got closer. We definitely got closer.
Doesn't it get back to? I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking, and I'm certainly I wouldn't describe myself as being a guy. You know, I think I'm way too
Say a guy's guy.
A guy's guy.
I'm with you on that.
I'm way too emotional. I'm oversensitive. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But some of these, I mean, I think it's my opinion that Adam does these things to. I think that's what he does. He has that mentality of the guy's guy, and he's going to. Whatever, and
no question.
And those are his fans. I mean, they want to hear talk about the broads and those, and it's just not cool. I mean, I don't think he might be. I don't know. I've never met Adam. He's been on our show on the phone, and we've promoted things.
You mean on the
Bob and Tom show?
Right.
He's been on and called many times and promoted his books and his Kickstarters and all that stuff. And then I hear, and this could be wrong, I want to say that right away, but this is just things I've heard. He was, the Bob and Tom show, they're just a bunch of hillbilly. I mean, it's the same old thing. We're in Indiana, and we're not cosmopolitan, and we're just not Hollywood enough for him, and on and on.
And that's the interesting thing, too. It's like, I kind of not pride myself, but I try to be a nice person, a good person. And I would, to me, I'm the opposite of the people who go, oh, that guy's from the South, so he's got to be an idiot.
Right.
Or you're from the Midwest. I think that's like really judgmental, and people accuse me of I'm judging things that I hope, first of all, I'm keeping my targets high. I'm not like making fun of like comedians people haven't known, but it's like, exactly like, oh, they're a bunch of hillbillies and the thing is, I haven't listened to him in a long time because I don't have satellite radio, but I used to love Howard Stern, even though he would drive me crazy. Like after 9/11, he drove me crazy. But the thing is, if someone is funny, and I'll give you an example, like Nick DiPaolo. I don't agree with his politics at all, but I've known Nick for many years. He's hilarious. So I don't think if someone's funny to me, that erases anything because that means so like Howard Stern can say inflammatory things, but he's I think hilarious. I think he can be really funny, but his crowd, the people who follow him, those are the people I grew up with on Long Island who were bullies and beat me up and
Absolutely.
and I don't like
lots of confrontations. Yeah,
I don't like those people I hate those kind of men who are like just sitting around and they just think it's the funniest thing in the world to be misogynistic and that's not the best of Howard. The best of Howard is a truly funny guy, I think, and then the other stuff is stuff that when he goes on to things about, like he'll say something like in his book, he goes, I never said the Haitians were the worst. The French are the worst. He'll say things like that where it's funny the way he's saying it, And so, but that's what you're saying, that guy's guy thing. I find it offensive, uncomfortable. And that's the kind of thing you use. I mean, I tweeted like, "Oh boy, these Opening and Anthony fans really have a way with 3 or 4 words."
No, but it's the truth, though. I mean,
you should see the things they say to me.
Yeah, but that ability to separate the things, like I'm not really a fan of this guy's politics, but I recognize that he's funny. I'm not necessarily. I mean, because there comes a point where you realize who your audience is, and you kind of come to their level, wherever their level is, whether it's up or down. And I think that people get, like Howard Stern, maybe get caught up in that and go for the easy joke or like you said,
I don't know if Howard does that, but I haven't heard him in many, many years. But like, there's a famous thing of Bill Burr online on YouTube where he's at one of these Opening and Anthony sponsored shows where the people are just like drunk and screaming, and he put them down in the funniest way I've ever seen.
I love Bill. He's hilarious, and he's been on, and I hope he'll be on the show, the Bob and Tom Show, a lot more, and we'll get him on the podcast. But yeah, he sees Bill manages it to be a guy's guy, and but not in like that immature, awful.
Well, that's
way,
that's the thing too. Is if it's a guy's guy and he's funny, then it actually it's like he's being funny and he could be aggressive or whatever. But he's not like he's not like the people who. He's not like the. First of all, he's obviously not like the people who are. Because I know that because I actually listened to him telling Anthony, that he's trying to argue with Anthony about being a racist on the Open Anthony show. But so it's like a lot of it is my own issues of things that I feared when I was a kid.
I'm right there with you.
So I don't want to ever be to the point where if a guy's different from me because he's more aggressive generally, then I'm not going to enjoy his comedy because I I love Fitzsimmons. I love a lot of those guys who are what you would call more like a New Yorker type of edgy guy like that. But it's but that being said, this ugly kind of it's why shouldn't we be homophobic and misogynistic? That's what and these Open Anthony people sending me pictures of bodies piled up in concentration camps and
what the hell is that?
And saying Hitler when they sent me a thing like when Robin Williams died, they're like, Kindler should take notes, And I have to tell you that I'm proud to say that kind of thing does not bother me because I'm able, like my wife will not read any comment sections.
I can't blame her. Yeah.
And so, but
we've talked about the comment section on here many times.
Just don't read the comments.
Just don't. But when it's that ludicrous, it doesn't get to me. It's not like, they told me to kill myself, so maybe I should, or it's
right.
It becomes ludicrous, but it just shows the level that these people are thinking.
Yeah.
When I was in, you're making me remember my childhood, and I never, I never got the girl. I was overweight. But I had humor and I had friends that way. But I saw the guys who got the girls, and they were just dicks. I mean, and treat the girls like, keep your pimp hand strong and all this bullshit. And I got so unexpectedly upset about the Ray Rice situation. I couldn't understand why. And that's exactly it. Ray Rice is and this is my opinion. I feel like Ray Rice is one of these guys who has to keep as we always keep your pimp hand strong, keep that woman in line. And that attitude exists. And there are people serious about that. When this happened to Ray Rice, I mean,
Yeah.
She's like in the room with him trying to plead
when she was
for Ray not to get suspended to the Commissioner
This has
Goodell.
happened once. It's never happened before.
It's never happened before. I love him. It'll never happen. I mean, it's just
it was very scripted, obviously.
classic shit, and I just don't. And I don't understand, and I guess it's a form of jealousy and resentment. How do these guys get these girls when they
that
act
will
like
stand
that?
by their side? Yeah,
They won't. And these guys don't love these women. They don't cherish them. They don't want to do anything for them or be around them. They just want to point and go, yeah, that's my whatever horrible word they would use for a woman, whatever's in fashion at that time. And it just continues. And the girls don't. Not only do the girls not do anything about it, they marry the guy.
Right.
And it's just, I just don't get it.
Yeah, I think it's. Well, I also think there's a lot of things. All of us have a tendency to. They say you marry the person who's your parents or something like that. I mean, I think we all have emotional problems where we might. I did marry my mother briefly in a civil service.
Well, no, I've been trying to find my mother for 3 marriages now, and it's not.
It's not. Yeah,
that doesn't work.
You
no.
had to wear the mother clothes. No, but so everybody. I think that you could see, and I could also see how someone could be. Because I've heard this a lot of times where someone was really nice when they first met, like they didn't see that part of him.
We've had this discussion. Hey, you're a salesman when you.
Yeah, that's what I've always said. That you are selling you, and you're not going to let him see the crazy.
No, not the cray.
No, not the cray. You're going to make a lot of meals, and you're going to wear a lot of makeup, and you do all those things.
And he's gonna not get so drunk and not
right. Yeah, and you have hopes that he's gonna change too. So it's not like that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wear enough makeup and I'm gonna cook enough meals and I'm gonna have enough sex with him that he's going to change. Yeah.
It's a very, very, it's also very like hard sometimes because when you go back in history and you see they say, well, Picasso was this way, or sometimes I feel like I don't want to know any more about Picasso because I want to be able to enjoy his paintings. You know what I mean? It's like
like the feces thing, and was that Picasso?
Are you mixing up Danny Thomas with Picasso?
Didn't somebody cover himself in feces? And
I used to when I was in the Navy.
Maybe now that I think it was me. Were you in the Navy?
No,
it's a good reference.
I was about to say it too, and then I was like, no, he wasn't.
It's a good reference, though.
You're a good actor.
Yeah, I think so. I have to stop looking at the camera when I act.
I always get caught up in my thing is I don't want to meet anybody famous or anybody that I really enjoy. And
the Jeff Garlin rule.
Yeah. And that only I lucked out with Joe Theismann. He honestly is, and I know many people have the assumption that he's full of himself, and he certainly went through that part in his life.
Oh, sure.
But, I mean, he's always been great to me. And
he's also a huge fan of you. He is a fan as much as
I'm sorry,
are.
I didn't hear that part. What was that?
He is a huge fan of yours.
He's a huge fan of yours.
No, like, I was scared to, like, I was scared to meet Louis. He came in and was on the show one morning, but Louis was unbelievably nice. He was great when I met him.
That's his shtick.
That's it. I have such a crush on him.
You really do?
Yes.
Wow.
I think it goes back. It does. It goes back to when you were a kid. My first boyfriend had red hair, and I don't know. I think that's a thing.
It's hot. Yeah. Let's not kid ourselves.
Let's not sit here and try to.
But I mean, even like I read this biography of Richard Pryor, and he obviously had
a
terrible,
rough life.
and then I think he was violent with women and all these kind of. But and it's so even hard to say this, but Richard Pryor to me is the greatest comedian that there ever was, and you can't take that away from him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm making a point that makes sense, because that doesn't excuse anything that he did or justify anything that he did. But man, that first live concert film is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. So vulnerable, so and a lot of times I'm not saying that justifies what Ray Rice did, but I do think that women, like, there's something about like an amazing athlete that you admire, and for the right reasons.
Sure.
Okay, well, that does make it worse. That Ray's the way he is.
Yeah,
it's like when Clinton said he got caught. You know why I did it? because I could.
Yeah.
And
I
she would put up with it.
I like it. Now, this Aaron Hernandez sounds like a good guy.
You know, I've invested all my money with him. I'm just going to give all of it to Aaron. See what he can do with it.
Yeah. And I always wonder, like with like someone like Hernandez, could it be? No, it couldn't just be drugs. But Jesus, Christmas.
No, yeah. How can you? Evidently, according to reports, possibly killed 3 people.
I think they're gonna. They're starting to maybe say who hasn't he killed. Allegedly. I don't want to get on his bad side either, because if I end up in prison for my material, I don't want to be in his cell. I don't know what I'm scared of now.
Next up, you want to go to jail, Jorden?
I would not do well in jail. I don't think I would. Don't have the physique or the prowess for it.
The prowess?
Yeah.
What kind of what show? What are you even watching? Oz?
The intimidation prowess.
Acumen?
Yes. The skill set.
There you go, skill set.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I was reading this Richard Pryor biography, it was like I just felt bad for everyone involved.
Who wrote it?
It's just a recent book that came out. I think Joe Henry, who's a musician.
Prior Convictions or the other one?
It's called no, it just came out. It's called
Furious Cool.
Furious Cool.
Brother Joe Henry and David Henry. I think
yeah, they're brothers, and Joe Henry's an excellent musician.
Okay.
And it celebrates it. I mean, you can't help. Again, you can't get to the point where you say, "Well, I won't watch Richard Pryor again," because he was the greatest. And so,
well, that's the ability to separate. You know, I mean, I don't. What are you going to do? You can't say that someone's not good at something because.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody knew all of the horrible things I'd done.
Wait a minute.
What have you done?
No, but
skipped a lot of school.
But and I know
monster.
I know.
I know some of the horrible things you've done.
Sure.
And you know some of the horrible things I've done.
Yeah.
But I think we could, even at our maddest at each other or disappointment.
Oh, you're talking about the horrible things we've done to each other,
or anybody, and we know about horrible things we've done to other people.
I guess.
I would say that you're a nice person.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not evil.
Like they say in the trades.
But I try to be a nice person. I don't think people...
Were you evil to him?
No.
I like to stir stuff up.
Stir it up.
I want to have an opposite love connection show.
Even if somebody is terrible and they've been... oh God, I don't know if I should say this.
Go, baby, go.
But I'm going to, because this is the extreme of my sympathy. Like it's very hard for me to hate someone, to really genuinely hate someone.
Hitler.
I don't know. I don't feel like I was close enough
was
to the
nice
situation.
to you.
No, I didn't know.
Obviously.
But to hate someone,
right.
you know, like
you
would
deal.
have to personally do something to me when
or your kids.
when they showed Saddam Hussein after he was dead, when they showed those pictures of him in on the media, I felt sympathy. Like it still chokes me up and makes me sick to my stomach. And I know that the horrible things he did. I don't know, actually. I don't know.
Well, he did some bad
I know
things.
he did. I know he did. But it's just
the Kurds.
Yeah,
not his best work.
No,
I know what you're saying though.
You know what
That's
I'm
why
saying?
I'm
Like, I
against.
just
That's
still
why I'm
feel
against the
sympathy.
That's why I'm against the death penalty.
Yeah,
because I feel like as horrible as anything, that when you deliberately go out and kill somebody, no matter what they've done, it's almost like you're getting into that territory.
Yeah, kind of. I just to
almost
splash
become
his
as bad as
picture.
they
Yeah,
are
just to
if
splash his picture all over. And he's dead and he's bloated and he was hung. Is that correct? Yeah.
Pictures are hung.
Hung?
No,
Hang?
pictures are hung. People are.
No,
hanged.
how did he die? Is
Hanged.
what I was asking.
Oh, I don't
correct.
remember.
Oh, he was hanged.
I thought he was hanged.
I thought you were trying to get the tense right. My point is.
You were making a grammatical point.
What is it? I'm not sure if it was Buddha or someone smart. If one person dies, everyone dies. Or something. I mean, it's a soul leaving the earth. I mean,
but like I said, I have
we
never
should be
had
upset about
someone
it.
do anything extreme enough to me or someone I love for me to want to kill someone. You know, I'm not saying that it couldn't happen, but But I'm just saying that. But when I see things like that, when I saw Saddam Hussein's dead face all over me, I felt sympathy. I don't know why.
Well, I think it's. I don't even
Is
know
it
if
just
it's.
because somebody's dead?
I don't think it's even. I don't know if the word is even sympathy,
it's
because it's
not?
not like you're sympathizing with him.
No,
but
you're right.
you're feeling horror at the the level that people would go to, regardless of what was. I understand.
Maybe
what
it
you're
was
saying.
sick. It was sickening. The media. The media was sickening, and I felt guilt that I was a part of. That I watched it. That I saw it.
I even take it a step farther, and I think there's a motive. I think the media took this as an opportunity. Oh yeah, we're really going to kick the shit out of this guy in the media because we're going to be able to get away with it because everybody hates him. Let's all see what horrible things we can write about and horrible pictures, and because no one will complain about.
But that's still somebody's dad. That's still somebody's brother. That's still. Well, I feel like I really chose him, and I shouldn't have when I was talking about.
No. You see, here's the thing that you're saying. It's so funny because that's why these things are so hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Because when I was talking about the Richard Pryor thing, it's like, I'm imagining people going, "How can you justify?"
Right.
It's like we're talking about complex issues that don't. There's no answer.
There's no right feeling.
You're not justifying Saddam Hussein. You're saying what your true reaction was. It's like, to me, Richard Pryor will always be a hero because of what he was able to communicate and bring out of society.
Okay.
So you can have that belief and then also be horrified by other things.
Right.
But I think when people get into this thing like, no, you must now reject this person.
Yeah.
People are like, or ban this Picasso, whatever it is. I just can't. I can't go. It's not. There's no easy answers. It's complicated.
No.
I think it's not sympathy as much as it's empathy. Like you feel, like you said, it's someone's dad. Like
yeah,
you feel for the kids.
For the people who are alive.
Yeah,
I
how
guess.
you would feel if you saw your dead dad on TV being
Yeah.
slandered like that.
Maybe
like,
that's
feel
what it is.
Bad for those people.
I don't know, but it's just. But now, even that I've said all of this out loud, I'm like, I'm gonna after this podcast come out, I'm not gonna get on Twitter. I'm going to close my eyes and scroll to the top of the comments so I don't have to read anything anybody said to me. Like, that's, like, I am not built for podcasts and fucking social media.
And you say that, and
but I'm not going to.
There are people on Twitter who will try to say the worst thing possible just to get your attention.
I know, but you know
and
what? I had someone
now
say,
that you mentioned.
Well, then that's when I'll close my eyes and scroll to the top and I won't read it.
You have to.
But like there was a gentleman who said something really nasty about my personal appearance on Twitter.
Oh, that motherfucker.
And it was the first time that before I would block him and I'd report him as spam or do something completely adult-like. And this time I just said, hey, I know it's not a flattering picture, but would you take that tweet down? That really hurt my feelings. And he did. And he never responded, never said anything else. And I don't know if that was just luck that I found the guy who was willing to do it and not say anything nasty back or start a big Twitter war.
You know what? This brings us back to it's negative attention seeking, right? I mean,
Yes.
And I think that's some of these comedians that we're talking about. I'm going to say the worst possible thing I can think of and get attention and tear somebody else down, and I kind of mean it. And
yeah, and I've had people say, like someone said, just something terrible to me. I didn't remember what they told me, and they were like, and I blocked them, but you can still see what they say after you block people, and they was like, I'm just so thrilled that I was able to get you upset, or
right.
I'm a big fan. I'm thrilled that.
What is that mentality?
It is the weird. Like I blocked a woman yesterday. I don't even know who this person is. It's some kind of a monster. It's not that they're monsters in real life.
I think there are.
They are. But there's something monstrous. And her thing. I was looking at her, and she started to say terrible things about me. And I looked at what she was saying, and so that reporter who those two reporters in the Ferguson thing. They were in McDonald's, and one was, and then the cops harassed them and all that kind of thing, and for no reason at all, and told them to stop filming, which is unacceptable to me. You have no right to tell someone, a law enforcement, that you can't film something. And then some woman wrote to him, judging by your appearance, I side with the officer, and so you start to see, and I looked down all over, and it's like. I don't even know if it is a woman, but that's her name is a woman. They go, she thinks this is funny, or something is wrong, and I really can't explain what's happening with people's minds about why they are that way. But before Twitter, you just didn't see it.
No, and
much.
I guess not as much on Facebook, but I guess because Twitter.
I think Facebook's bad. But I mean, just before there was
Facebook is
social
bad,
media,
right?
Before
No.
social media, you didn't see it.
I think it's what is it? The EQ, the emotional quotient of people. It's not even necessarily their intelligence, but their ability to understand emotion and comprehend it and put themselves in another person's place and realize what they're saying.
I really got under your skin, didn't I? I mean,
Yeah.
what kind of a person is proud of that accomplishment? I don't get that.
Well, also like I'm always amazed. There's a story. It's a very famous thing that happened in the news where a woman thought picked a guy out and thought that he had raped her, and he went to prison for 20 years, and then she realized that she had made a terrible mistake.
Oh God!
And so that guy gets out and he forgives her.
Yeah.
And I feel like it is a lesson I would like to learn from myself. And then now they're the closest of friends, and so it's
Wow.
and a lot of times and this is what happened to me on Facebook. That just is. I never thought I would be this way where, because I grew up, when I was 12 years old, I realized, hey, the Bible's not literal. And only fundamentalists think the Bible is literal. Most people I know who are spiritual, they're first of all not saying it's a specific thing. It's a sense you have about the universe. But I got into a thing on Facebook, and I basically realized that all these people, and it was one particular person who was my friend, because a lot of times it is my fault because I engage when I shouldn't engage, and I need to learn the lesson to not engage. But in this case, this was someone I was friends with, and then you see these people, they hate people if they're spiritual. They hate their guts. And this is a new thing, not just you want to be an atheist, that's fine. Many of my friends are atheists,
Right.
but they're not like one of my friends who's an atheist said, why would I possibly be running around saying that people who believe in something spiritual are terrible? But they're and if you look at these atheist websites and things where they're and the way Bill Maher does it, where he says he goes against Muslims, all religions are bad, but the Muslims are the worst. I mean, he has no sense of history about the Inquisition, knows nothing about Muhammad, but they pull these things out. And Sam Harris is this way, and the worst is this guy Richard Dawkins, who was a scientist. They pull things out of the Quran and say, oh, of course, this religion is terrible. Look what's in the Quran. When nobody I know who's spiritual, they're as bad as fundamentalists. So what the thing about it was, I learned that I unfriended I blocked all these people, like comedians, people I've known, and I realized, oh, no wonder why this guy was a jerk when I met him in the 90s. You start to see a bunch of these people and what their minds are like, and so actually it was like an eye opener for me. I really have no patience for people who are just abusive. I was raised that no matter what people believe, as long as they weren't bothering you, you should respect them and not condemn them. So it's been a life lesson for me.
Yeah, there should be. I heard this somewhere. There should be a baseline respect for all people.
And
That's
they
all.
justify it on that their whole thing is, look how how religion has damaged the world. But they never talk about how Stalin was an atheist and killed 30 million people, or how how religion is illegal in North Korea. But the point is, they should focus on, yes, this Texas school board thing where they're teaching you creationism. Yes, we don't want creationism taught as science. Go after that. But don't go after everyone's core belief on the planet. You're not going to save one terrorist, or you're not going to convert one terrorist or convert one person. You know what your problem is? Your core religion is bad, And it's weird. It's just a weird, and I think it's a weird time period right now with again, these people who think a lot of these people, who these comedians, their whole thing is their whole philosophy is oh, black people have it so good now in America, and why are the why are the blacks getting everything so well, it's just, and so it's a dangerous time in a way, but and I also think it's a life lesson, these things, because, and my wife's pointed this out, and she's absolutely right. It's you're going on Twitter, you're going on these things, and you're ignoring me. Well, she's exactly right about it. It's like it's like an addiction. I enjoy the character of Andy Kindler enjoys pot, but but these things of you get the rush. How many retweets did you get? How many favorites did you get? It's a thing you really need to work on and limit it. Well, that's what I'm working on now, is limiting it. but it's hard.
How many times a day do you look at your Twitter account?
Too many times.
But
Too many.
But you think, man, I'm going to block this guy. I mean,
Well, I do block. Tom,
I bet 20 times a day I look at that.
do you, Tom Green said something good.
I try not to, but
Tom Green, he said, I just block people immediately if I sense where I know where it's going.
Yeah.
And so I do block people
that's
a lot.
good idea.
I do block people a lot more. Do you not block anyone?
no, I used to block everyone. I used to let it.
I don't block anyone. I'm
get
afraid
to
I'm going to
me.
hurt their feelings.
And
I know it's silly, and I know
it's not silly. It's a beautiful thought, and that's what we're all striving for.
But the mute button was a godsend.
Well, now how does the mute button work? Do you still see them?
No, you don't see anything that they post, but they have no idea that you can't see the shit they post.
But they still see stuff that you put up.
It's like Facebook and hiding everything.
Yeah. They still see you, and they can respond to you, but you're not going to see it.
Well, I think they can see it if they respond
like
to you.
that very
If they go directly to you, you just can't see their general tweets. But if it's directed at you, I think you'd be able to see it.
No. If the muting.
The muting is
Once you
none.
mute someone, you don't see them what they're saying
At all.
No,
Yeah.
that's it. You don't have to
right.
look at them anymore.
You have to look at them anymore.
Yeah, but I do that
always,
sometimes.
and I try to work on this. And even when I get texts from friends, I always
There's always inflection.
I apply inflection to whatever text I
Always.
get. I mean, hi,
that's so yeah.
hi, how are you? And I'll read it
Oh
in
yeah.
my head.
No,
Hi,
and we'll
how
be in
are
the car,
you?
and he'll turn his phone, and he was like, "This fucking guy," and I was like, "What?" What? Like he said, "How's your day? What's wrong?"
How's your
Okay,
day?
I've gotten angry at okay.
I get
Okay.
angry at K.
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 I get angry
I
at
hate
K.
K.
Hey, if you ain't got fucking
My
time,
dad
just give
does
me
that.
an O and K.
Spell it out.
But I do. I'm very proud of one part of myself that I've taken things the wrong way. I've even blocked people, and I realize, oh, I screwed up. They
Sure.
meant it the opposite
Sure.
way.
Right.
And then I think it could be a very. I always want to take this one part of my mind where could be taking it wrong. It's hard when you get attacked all the time. To think that they're being. Like this one guy was being totally sincere, and he went kudos, and I thought, oh, who uses kudos non-sarcastically?
Yeah. And no one says that sincerely.
Yeah, so it really is a total thing of
Sure.
if you were in these things would never happen if you were talking about these issues at a party.
But you know what? And the sad
Right.
part is the people we're talking about would never have the conversation that we're having right now.
Right.
All they want to do is attack and think it's funny. And
Some of them are literally sick.
And
I mean,
they're-
they're
Oh
really-
yeah, absolutely.
just mean.
The comments on YouTube are so hilariously bad.
I can't do YouTube,
I haven't done. I don't do YouTube. I don't.
or maybe
do
I am
Facebook.
on YouTube. When I
No,
milk
no,
the
but-
cow.
Yeah. Never look at comment sections anywhere.
I don't. I did. Well, when you go to our podcast in the comment sections, I think it's the first 8. The first 8 comments are Jess is awful. She is a comedic vacuum. I mean, it's beautiful, and I was like, why can't we move those somewhere else? Can we mix them up? Do they have to all 8 be together right there?
I don't know how anybody could make a comment like that and not realize that what's going on here on the podcast. And if Jess isn't on this podcast, I'm not on this podcast. I go back to my little cave and do what I do on the Bob and Tom Show, and because the only thing that we would miss, of course, doing this podcast is all the money we're making.
Right.
So it's just no. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a fun thing, and we can sit and talk and spend time with our friends. And if you're coming at us to criticize any one of it, it's nothing's going to change from your comments other than you see what I told her, and you can talk about it at the bar later. I guess
It is so rude. Like I get all these whenever I criticize. Who are you to criticize? What have you done? But so that's a theme. But also the idea that you would tell, like to me, if you don't like what I'm saying, fine, say you don't like what I'm saying. But the whole idea that you would say, why don't you, comedian, tweet like they tell you what to tweet. Get back to your funny tweets. I tell people I'm not on the clock now.
Andy, I started following. I've rediscovered Keith Olbermann.
Yeah.
When he first got on ESPN, he's hosted the highlight show on ESPN. I always thought he was funny and glib and treating sports the way you should. Sometimes it's serious, but most of the time they're playing baseball or football or whatever, and it should be fun. And now he's got a new highlight show. He's back on ESPN. He does sports, And I started following him the other day, and I think he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm sure I don't agree with his politics, but what he does, I admire what he does with his show. So
Why are you? Would you say you're not progressive politics wise?
Depends on if you're talking about taxes.
Yeah, everything.
You like taxes?
No, I hate taxes. Who doesn't like taxes? I spend, baby. Anyway, so I start following Keith Olbermann.
I love him. I love him.
And
Did you just pull all those pretzels out of your pocket?
Yeah, because I was eating them from my pocket.
he's had pretzels in his pocket all morning.
The madness at one time has to end.
So I follow Keith Olbermann, and I get a tweet like 10 minutes later. Mm-hmm. Why are you following Keith Olbermann?
Are you serious?
I didn't know you're following Keith.
So you have to go to my account.
Right, you're taking the time.
Taking the time to go, well, I wonder whose chick's following. And they go down and go, oh, Keith Olbermann, why... I disagree with him.
It's almost like...
It's like, what? What are you... Who?
It's like when an old boyfriend sees that you've changed, your followers have changed, and they check and they see who you're following. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, that might be.
Maybe similar to that.
That might be similar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I wouldn't tweet you and say, why are you following that?
No, you would wait. You would wait until I walked into the podcast the next day and go,
what the hell are you following that guy for?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a thing yesterday that ended okay, fine. But I was talking to the guy, and it was just like a conversation about. I had tweeted about, in the hotels they say in case of an emergency, don't use the elevator. And my joke was unless of course it's a stairs oriented emergency, right? Mm-hmm. So this guy tweeted me. He replied. He said actually my friend and his coworkers. Mm-hmm. Made it out of the World Trade Center because
they made it personal. Yeah.
No, but it was good. I mean, he said that they actually did use the elevator,
mm-hmm.
and that saved their life. And
right.
And I went back and forth, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Why were you so cranky during your talk in Montreal? It's like, what's the matter? Like what? Yeah." I like you on Maron, but are you are you doing his cranky character? And I was like, what the hell is wrong? It's like he didn't see how that was socially wrong. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
To be, and then why you would think that after 30 years, mm-hmm. I'm going to change. You're right. And then I did say to him, I said, maybe you're not aware this is a speech I do every year. And that was what it was. He didn't aware. He thought it was my act or whatever the hell he thought. He didn't understand it. So, but I got
people.
What
They're the worst.
What are we going to do? How are we going to fix this? Jorden,
we're going to go to lunch.
What do we do?
I got nothing. I have no ideas.
You're the future, Jorden.
Contribute nothing to society.
No, you have to figure this out,
1993.
All right, we'll figure it out. I'll get cracking on a code.
I was 12.
Crack-a-lackin'.
He has a good relationship with the social media, though, right?
Oh, you
don't
do?
have a big problem.
All right.
Yeah.
I think I don't stir up a lot of controversy because I don't have a lot of
controversial things to say. Yeah.
No, the pussy wagon, Prius, you're
not
okay.
Very political,
you're very safe.
Not very.
Love the pussy wagon.
It's like hanging out,
mm-hmm.
being cool.
All right, what's your Twitter handle? What is it?
At Jorden. It's the at symbol. The word at and then the word at Jorden.
No way.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's
Andy, you're at Andy Kindler.
At Andy Kindler. I was Kindler Andy for 2 weeks, and then so stupid.
Do you have a website for your dates and stuff? You do, don't
for
you?
my dates in 2005. AndyKindler.com.
AndyKindler.com, and it's beautiful photographs of you.
That's my wife. But we've been wanting to update it for years, but it's just one of those things. But I love the way it looks. But
and what's your wife's website? What was that?
Maljan.com.
MAL what?
JAN.com.
There you go.
The greatest photographer in the world, but she's very shy and she doesn't like me bragging about her.
Oh. But you love her.
I love her. We got married and everything.
I've heard tell us stuff.
And
like
I'm learning about intimacy.
So wait a minute. When you asked her to marry you, she actually went through with it?
When I asked her to marry you,
stop doing that joke.
I shouldn't have used during the proposal. I shouldn't have said worst case scenario. During the proposal, I shouldn't have said 6 of one, half dozen of the other. I shouldn't have said at the end of the day. I shouldn't have said neither one of us are getting any younger. I shouldn't have said the health insurance is better.
Andy Kindler.
Thanks, guys.
Look for him at a venue near you.
I'm in Bloomington if this comes out today.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody, for downloading. podcast. Let's go out there and try to be nice to somebody, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.